Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi with a shotgun build, legendary. Let's get right into it. I wanted to make a build, a red build. One of the prerequisites though was that it would be able to go into a legendary and hold its own. And by hold its own, I would mean in a 4-man legendary that I don't go down and I'm up all the time and I can provide some versatility to the group. So that's what it looks like. A couple improvised pieces, BTSU. And so septic shock from the shotgun. I got Ranger on my secondary AR. And I'm going to go through kind of what the other benefits I have. And so you can see I have a 40% shotgun damage bonus. I have perfectly opportunistic, and that's going to give a 15% buff. And I have unbreakable. And then I have the overclock on the gloves. I don't utilize that much at this point. And basically what the idea of this build is, I took a bunch of yellows and rolled them as red. Normally I take reds and roll them as yellows. This time I'm going in reverse. And the idea was to stack a lot of repairability on a red build and maybe have a piece of blue. And that way I could put out some heals for myself. If I'm soloing, I have decent heals. And if I'm in a group, I'm going to be able to provide that. With Unbreakable and the heals, it's a pretty stout build. And it's kind of based off the concept of I have a technician build that's based on the same kind of thing where I have improvised gear and I have 80% damage reduction to elites. This is a build that's made to play in legendaries. You can play it in every other. Not every build you can play in legendary because not every build is sustainable. You can play them. I've played with people who have those builds, but you're more dependent upon a team. I play a lot of pickup groups, so I don't know what I'm going to be getting into. And so that's kind of what was the fruit of this this build. I have a couple of improvised pieces of gear, and what improvised pieces of gear allow you to do is stack different mods. So that's where I can get 70% with the survivalist. I get 7% damage reduction to yellow. So when I'm facing yellows, it's going to be good. I'm going to face chungas. It's going to be fantastic. If I face yellow dogs, yellow Johnny Fives, I'm going to be doing a little bit better. Plus the difference between my other build, which is similar to this, I put out more weapon DPS. And in a group, I'm putting out a little more DPS. Maybe I would change it so I show you some alternatives. Perfectly Wicked would be good if I was soloing. Sometimes I stack this Gila Guard that gives me 5% armor, but Adrenaline Rush, so I'm more survivable. And then I even took another yellow build, rolled it red, but it gave me more incoming heals, incoming repair. So that's the genesis for this build. And I'm going to show you some legendary gameplay. There's the build. I have it rolling. And up until this point, it's been really good. This is that section where you're going to have rushers. So I'm going to throw out the heals. And the thing with the BTSU gloves is that hive's going to come back. So you're constantly throwing out heals. And why did I pick the shotgun? Because the Scorpio is a great crowd control weapon. Shotguns have good damage up close. This build's kind of allow you to be more mobile. I have other builds where you're constantly in cover. This is a build where you don't have to be in cover. And look, I don't have a ton of armor. And I've only raised expertise up 3% on basically all the pieces. But even, you know, Even if it was 10% of, it's maybe 100,000 extra armor. It might get me close to 1,000,000. But that's, with the healing, that's going to make a big difference. As you can see, I've edited some of the gameplay. I did a lot of run aground. This is a very methodical group. It's a great group. We ended up going right to the end. In the end, I had to switch to my Jammer Pulse build. And then we beat the final. We got sacked the first time. And that's a long... Well, we did the kill everything first with the turrets. So that's a long... The boss fight in this is just really tedious. This battle is a long-range battle. There's snipers and grenadiers over there, and you have some people will try to flank you on the right. If you were more survivable, I could probably play up a lot further, but then I wouldn't be providing heals to the folks back here. And what happens normally when people are back here, they get sniped, me included, all the time. So in this type of group where we're not trying to win any speed records, I'm going to just stay put in support and mark. You can see I can come up here and support our tank person. I'm not so fragile that, if I get hit once or twice, it's going to be the end of me. Especially on a yellow. And so when I play this build in heroics, I'm not the leader of the charts. The shotgun damage is great, but it's not so great that it makes you forget. Like an AR just puts out so much more damage. Forget about any of the stacking builds where you get more DPS the more you stack. Most of the AR builds, I've just had run-of-the-mill AR builds to get, 300,000, and then you're getting crits up to 400,000, or what have you. And those builds are, you're putting out in a magazine of 50 rounds, you're putting out a ton of damage. But all of that always comes at a price. So this battle, there's three gateways. There's one on each, the left and the right, and there's one in the middle. And so a good group will balance. So, ideally you'd force them in the middle, but that's a wide open space to cover. I'm over here trying to support the tank because he has a lot of DPS. And I'm going to probably be on the res duty. You can see my teammates, he's firing just on the flank. So again, you're trying to keep everyone in front of you. I'm going to support this side now. And again, trying to mark those guys. And so this build is a great team build for that respect, because you're going to always put heals on everyone. The benefit of, when I did solo, I changed the build a little bit. I tried to see how it would be with technician, but you lose the little rollerball healer. And that rollerball healer, it's a smart healer. And it has like an AoE. So if guys for legendary, it's a good heal. I noticed when I use that in a heroic, by the time it comes over and does the heal, we've moved on. And in those scenarios, I like the drone healer better. I don't like the chem launcher because the way it recharges.
Vital signs critical.
And I've tried to kind of have some type of healing builds before in my tank builds and those kind of things. They just don't have enough repair. This build, you can see I had a lot of armor regen. I got a lot of repair stuff. This build is built for like a legendary. And so a lot of times you've got to remember what the build's for. Can it do the other things? Yes. Are there better builds for doing heroics? Absolutely, because there's more damage. But something where you have to survive, this is going to be a good build. I didn't cut through this part because we're going to go right into this next section. And you can see it'll go relatively quickly. There's 4 chungas that are coming in this next section. So really, you're going to have a couple of helos. Once you start the encounter, you're going to have a couple of helos. And there's one helo that lands up front, and that's with like 3 dudes or 3 people. And the chunga is set down in the back. And there might be 2 chungas. I don't pay attention. That helo on the right that you kind of saw a glimpse of, that's going to be a chunga. And I think there's a helo on the left. That helo doesn't have chungas. Again, normally I'd be behind the fence and I'd be pulsing them or doing grenades, or I would have thrown a turret up on that spot. And you see the chunga coming and I mark him. He may go to the right. But just to give you an idea how fast things are going, we've already spawned the next set of helicopters, I believe. So there's going to be a chunga back. 2 are going to core from the, and there's a 3rd one right here that's up front. This guy's kind of tough. And this really is one of those, this group doesn't have a problem with that. But you're just trying to keep people out of that hole. Sometimes out of that choke point. Sometimes I don't know if they're sergeants or corporals or whatever, but they put down that healing and they can heal all the way up here. The other thing, if you like to be mobile, this is the kind of build for you because you're going to be mobile, yet you're still going to be able to be survivable. I've never really seen the tank. The tank had earlier gone over there. I'm just going to follow him because I can support him. And so we have 3 of us going over there. I'm just going to leave our mate over there and we're going to push on this side. This is okay because the map's mainly done. He takes some elevation here, which is always a good tactic. And we're pushing around. And even though that guy's a purple, right, I don't care. Because the benefit of the Scorpio is it stuns them. And so you have an opportunity to hopefully get off your 7 shots. Next section here, there's like 2 waves and then a 3rd wave that includes a dog. Your job in this build is to mark people. When they get close, you're going to finish them. I'm going to come over here and try to help finish that dog. The dog comes. You could do some variations, and really the extra protection in here is unbreakable. And I find it hard to go against unbreakable for a legendary, because it just provides you that extra survivability. I want to thank everyone for subscribing. Recently went over 300. It's fantastic. Appreciate everyone. Here we're in the section with the dogs. I'll have more videos. I just recently completed the summit on legendary floors, I think 97, 98, and 99 with this build. And then I switched to a jammer pulse for the last one because this is not a long range. This is you're going to go chase the enemy down. And there's a lot of people like to do that. And yes, I could have put a revive hive on this, but that's what unbreakable is, right? The skills are so powerful in this game. that it seems silly not to have them available. And that's a personal opinion. But if you want to do a legendary, so what's the key ingredient to this legendary build? It's I've taken yellows that have inherent repair skills, and I picked those in slots that I'm going to automatically put a mod in. I'm going to make improvised gear for at least the knee pads and the holster. That's the whole thing of this build, because that's what's giving you the more survivability. More repairing's not going to help you. What's going to help you is the reduction to damage on yellows coupled with the repairing. There's a certain point of diminishing returns on repairing, because I don't, as you can see, the people don't repair quite that fast. Is that because I'm not technician? Maybe, I don't know, but I have a suspicion it is. Right, and that's a yellow. Yeah, I don't care that he shoots me. He's not going to hurt me. So you're having at least, but I'd say to get the hive working properly, you need the BTSU. So here's this final section I'm going to do. So you have 2 improvised gear, holster, knee pads, BTSUs for gloves, and then whatever combo of yellows that have good, that have repair on them, not the core. The core you're going to re-roll to reds. But you have an unbreakable piece, and then maybe like an opportunistic. And you are going to slot 5 of those with the 12% elite reduction. And then you're going to play forward a little bit more. You're going to have enough damage that you can stop people, yet you're going to be survivable. So, it's Ronan Kazi. You'll have more of this build in the future, and I'll be demonstrating it. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the build. Thanks again.